Okay, I have a mic here, so hopefully it'll be louder for you guys. I just did a sound test and it sounded better. I am using a Rock Band mic because my other mic broke, and Rock Band's an epic game. I do have code blocks projects, but guess what? I am 100% a Qt fan, and code blocks has been pissing me off. That's all it's been doing lately. So I just implemented some stuff, and I did well, I was gonna do a time lapse, but then I only programmed for about, I don't even know, probably an hour, but maybe I'll put it up. Basically, for some reason I messed up a bunch, and there's a lot of parts where I had to debug for a while, and it was like, and then the other thing is, I can't stay focused a lot. Well, I can, but I can't at the same time. Like, sometimes I will. When I know I'm being recorded, I can't focus that long. So maybe I'll try tomorrow. But what did I do? Oh yeah, I made an entity factory today, which basically creates the player, just takes the reference to the player and creates it. I'll show you how they work. I don't need to show you how they're implemented because you don't care. If you do, I'll tell you personally. Basically, it's a singleton class. Create the player, you pass the entity. And this one only takes a name because it's set to the center of the screen, which I don't think worked last time. Whatever. And then create tile. First of all, position, clip rect, type, which is solid, depth, velocity, or nothing, and the image. And now we'll try it. Oh yeah, look at that epicness. Rotating around, input working, frame rate going all over the place for some reason. Who knows what the frame rate's at? For my input, I'm moving 1 pixel every frame, so it's doing okay. So, except for now, it gets all crazy. Yeah, the recorder's got something. I don't know, it just goes crazy. One sec. Okay, so, let's see. I guess I can go over how stuff's working. I think I've already done a lot. Oh, well, not really. Okay, so my component has an array, or an enum, I mean, of, and this will be an array inside the entity class, and it just has all my types of components. And then my entity class holds a list of components, pointers to components of that. This is all thanks to Falco, this idea. I would have iterated through them, but this is just a nice quick idea. It's pretty optimized. For my collision, for my component, I also hold a pointer to the entity, also Falco. Thank you so much. Basically, is what this does is it allows me to access all of the components from within the component, which is important for, like, let's say the most relevant one is my position component. So what I do is, if for on the move, what I do is I update the X and Y that are in this class, and if I have a collision component, I update the collision's rectangle, and if there is a sprite, I update the image's position. So that way I can update everything through the component, and I know that I should not have a function in the component, but I'm doing it. And I have an input too, because I'm lazy and I don't want to make an input system either. One thing I gotta change though is, no I don't. So see, because I could make an input system, but it's just a waste of time. I made a sprite system and stuff. So we'll go over what a system is. A system just takes a component and runs it. Basically, it has the execute function. The execute function is implemented in all systems, as you can see. I usually make them inline, and basically it iterates through all the components in the system, which are specific. They get added on, when you add them to the entity, they get added to the specific thing. And on updating, here's what happens. It goes, if the component's not there, which means I deleted it somewhere else, it'll remove it from the list. And if it's not, it'll do whatever it needs to do to that object. One more thing I implemented was rotation, which is what I had to do. I had to kind of reconfigure this image class. But basically is what I do is I set it so that the position, this is only for rendering the rectangle, so the only time this ever gets updated is when I change the size of the rectangle or something. So yeah, it's only when I change the size of the rectangle. This is for the clip rect. That's for the thing, and I divide it by the image height, and because a texture coordinate is it's between 1 and 0, or 0 and 1, same thing. So I get this to halfway in between. So this is the center point, where basically it draws negative, and it's hard to explain. That's what I do is I translate so that the image is in the center. Well, it's not in the center. It's where it's supposed to be, but as what happens is the rotation is around the center of the image when it gets translated to the position I want it to, because the location's the actual place it gets translated to. And yeah, that's about it, because it's hard to explain, I'm sorry. And the reason I take a parameter to a window is because eventually I'm going to implement the camera inside of the window, and it's going to update according to the input, because it's not actually going to move the character. Is what it's going to do is it's going to move the camera, except for it won't do it for the player. So I probably should take a pointer to it so I can do null, so that I don't have to update it, but we'll see about that. So so what's going to happen is basically the map's going to move underneath him, and the map's going to rotate around the point that the player is on, and it's going to seem like you're driving, but really what you're doing is you're moving the map underneath you and rotating it along. It's kind of, I don't know what I'm going to do. We'll see how that works. Basically just a little update. Show you what I'm doing. That should be good. Alright. See ya. Hopefully I'll get a time lapse and maybe some more like in-depth to the game rather than the programming, because I know you guys probably want that. I'll do both sets. I'll do programming and this. This is more of a programming video. Alright. Peace.